In the shadowy realms where folklore meets the supernatural, few entities are as pervasive or as enigmatic as the Lady in White. Known by different names and appearing in various cultures worldwide, the Lady in White is a spectral figure whose presence evokes both dread and sorrow. Draped in ethereal white garments, she is often seen wandering desolate roads, ancient ruins, or misty forests, bound to the places where her tragic story unfolded. The Lady in White is a ghost of a woman, often young and beautiful, who met a violent or sorrowful end, usually tied to themes of love, betrayal, or loss. Her spirit, unable to rest, manifests as a pale, haunting figure, eternally seeking something that was lost in life, be it justice, revenge, or reunion with a loved one. Sightings of the Lady in White are typically accompanied by a profound sense of melancholy and an eerie stillness that chills the soul. These spectral apparitions are not confined to any single culture or region. From the weeping La Llorona of Latin America folklore to the mournful White Lady of medieval European castles, these spirits share a common thread, a tragic backstory that transcends time and place. Their tales often serve as cautionary legends, warning of the consequences of betrayal, the dangers of forbidden love, or the devastation wrought by grief. But who are these ladies in white, really? Are they the restless spirits of wronged women, trapped between worlds until their story is heard and their pain acknowledged? Or are they something more, a reflection of humanity's deepest fears and the universal themes of love and loss? As we delve into their stories, we uncover not just the ghosts of individuals, but the haunting truths they represent, lingering in the shadows of our collective memory. In this chapter, we will explore the origins, manifestations, and variations of the Lady in White across different cultures, uncovering the commonalities that bind these spirits together, as well as the unique traits that make each one a distinct figure in the vast pantheon of the supernatural. White ladies are a type of female ghost. They are typically dressed in a white dress or another similar piece of white clothing, associated with local legends of tragedy. White lady legends are found in many countries around the world. Common causes of these legends include accidental deaths, murders, or suicide, and a theme of loss, possibly betrayed by a partner or unrequited love. In popular medieval legend, a white lady is said to appear in the day as well as at night in a house where a family member will die soon. They also appear in photos just before or after death. Brazil, the Brazilian Lady in White is said to be the ghost of a young woman who died in childbirth or of violent causes. According to legend, she appears as a pale woman in a long white dress or a sleeping gown. She will occasionally recount her misfortunes. Canada, according to my sources, a popular legend claims that the surroundings of the Montmorency Falls, near Quebec City, are haunted by a white lady. It is said to be the spirit of a young woman whose soon-to-be husband was killed while fighting against the British in the Battle of Beauport. The young couple allegedly used to meet near the top of the falls. Allegedly, the grieving woman ended her life by throwing herself into the water while wearing the wedding dress she had ordered to be made. Czech Republic, the best-known white lady of the Czech Republic is the ghost of Perkta of Rosenborg at Rosenborg Castle. She was the daughter of an important nobleman, Ulrich II of Rosenborg. She married another nobleman, Jan of Liechtenstein in 1449. The marriage was an unhappy one. During her married life, Perkta wrote many letters to her father and brothers with descriptions of her unhappy family life and the bad treatment she got from January. 32 of these letters were allegedly handed down. Legend has it that as her husband was dying, he asked for her forgiveness for his treatment towards her. Perkta refused, and her husband cursed her. After her death, she returned as a ghost. Estonia, the most famous white lady of Estonia is said to reside in Haapsalu Castle. According to the legend, a canon fell in love with her, so she hid in the castle disguised as a choir boy, but she was discovered when the Bishop of Oslo, visited Haapsalu and immured her in the wall of the chapel for her crime. To this day, she is said to look out of the baptistry's window and grieve for her beloved. According to legend, she can be seen on clear August full moon nights. Germany, stories of white lady ghosts are associated with residential castles of the Hohenzollern family. Two people are supposed to be the historical basis of a ghost haunting the Plassenburg. According to legend, the Countess Kunigunda of Orlamund murdered her two children, because she believed this would allow her to marry Albert of Nuremberg, who married Sophie von Henneberg instead of her. She became a nun and later died. A white lady ghost reportedly appeared in 1486, 1540, 1554, and 1677 as a harbinger of misfortune. A variation of the tale states that the White Lady of the Plassenburg is the widow Bertha of Rosenberg from Bohemia, overthrown by Perkta. A white lady ghost, said to be a harbinger of death and misfortune, was claimed to be seen in the Berliner Schloss in 1598 shortly before the death of John George of Brandenburg, and again in 1618, 1625, up until 1940. The castle is the residence of the kings of Prussia, and the stories associate the lady with several historical figures, most notably Anna Sidow, the paramour of Joachim II of Brandenburg, who bore him two children outside of marriage. Sidow was imprisoned in the Spandau citadel after Joachim's death, despite his promise to care for her. She died in 1575, and never regained her freedom. The castle of Dusseldorf is claimed to be haunted by a white lady. The castle was built in 1260 and was demolished in 1896 with only an old tower remaining. According to legend, a duchess named Jacobine and her lover were murdered by her jealous husband. Her ghost was said to be seen before each fire that plagued the castle. Friedland in Brandenburg is claimed to be haunted by a white lady, supposedly the daughter of a baronet cursed by her father for not giving him an heir. According to the legend, her ghost haunts the castle and surrounding forests, strangling anyone who talks to her. Burg Laneck is the site of a legend of a white lady ghost claimed to be stalking the castle. It is said to be the ghost of Idilia Dub. There is also a legend about an adulterous nobleman's wife in Battenhorst, Rita Wiedenbruck, Westphalia. The legend originates from the time of the 30 Years' War. According to the story, the nobleman encased her in the cellar of his manor to ensure that she could not betray him while he went away to war, but he never returned, and her spirit supposedly haunts the premises. According to another legend, a white lady haunts the remains of a monastery in the forest of the Oberg. Hungary, in Hungarian mythology, a white lady was the ghost of a girl or young woman who died violently, usually through suicide, murder, or they died while imprisoned. The ghost is usually bound to a specific location and is often identified as a specific person. Ireland, in Charles Fort, there is a story of a white lady, the ghost of a young woman that died on her wedding night. Her death was a suicide which followed the death of her husband at the hand of her father. She came back as a ghost to search for her father, and allegedly every year on the anniversary of her wedding night, you can hear her scream. People also report sightings of a female dud as the woman in the white dress in an abandoned house next to the White River in Dunleer. Japan, in Japanese folklore, the Ural and Onryo are frequently portrayed as women with long black hair and white dresses. This is due to these spirits commonly appearing in the condition they died in, and in Japanese culture, people are buried in white kimonos. It's also a typical depiction of ghosts in East Asia. Malta, the White Lady is the name of a female ghost that lives in Verdala Palace in the small forest of Busquet, Rabat, Malta. Legend has it that many years ago, the niece of Grand Master de Rohan, was engaged to be married to a suitor whom she did not love. Her father told her that she must always do as her fiancé said. But just before the ceremony, she committed suicide by jumping off a balcony. She was wearing her wedding gown when she died. This is why she is known as the White Lady. It is said that she haunts the Verdala Palace, and many people have confirmed that the apparition does appear in the palace. According to another legend, the White Lady of Mdina was killed by her lover after being forced to marry another man. Many have claimed to have seen this spirit, always after 8 p.m. She usually appears to children under 8 years old, heartbroken teenage boys, and elderly men. While she tells the children goodnight and tells them to return home, she advises the teenagers to find another, or join her and become a part of her shadow. She also attempts to lure elderly men into her shadow. The Netherlands, Wittenweven, as these women are called in local dialects, are mythical creatures of Lower Saxon origin and are most known in the eastern and northern parts of the Netherlands. Sometimes referred to as wit joffers, white maidens, they can have a benevolent or malevolent nature. Often related with witches and or ghosts, they show many similarities with the banshee, the fairy, and the elf. Understood as malevolent beings, they abduct or switch newborns, abduct women, and punish people who have mistreated them. As benevolent beings, they may help with childbirth or offer good advice. They are believed to dwell in tumuli, the hunebedden, and on the moors. Wisps of mist and fog banks are sometimes associated with them. The Shinvoldsbossen forest is also home to another white lady. Evidence suggests that the forest was once home to a castle farm that was built in 1396. In the 17th century, this site was burned down, killing the daughter of Lord Lambert Reinart. This event triggered a few variations of a white lady ghost story based around the death of the woman who burned in the castle farm. The most common versions of the tale involve the woman having two fighting lovers or of the site being burned on her wedding day by a jealous nobleman. However, all versions claim that she now wanders the forest in a long white dress, some saying that she only appears at midnight and others saying that she only appears during full moons. The Philippines, white ladies, indigenously known as caparosa, are popular ghost stories in the Philippines. White ladies are often used to convey horror and mystery to young children in storytelling. Sightings of white ladies are common around the country. The most prominent one is the White Lady of Bolete Drive in Quezon City. It is said that it is the ghost of a long-haired woman in a white dress, who, according to legend, died in a car accident while driving along Bolete Drive. Most stories about her were told by taxi drivers doing the graveyard shift. In other instances, it is said that when solitary people drive on that street in the early morning, they briefly see the face of a white-clad woman in the rear-view mirror before she quickly disappears. Some accidents on this road are blamed on the apparition of the White Lady. Russia, the Maidens of Uli, is a legend of the West Buryat people from the village of Ule, Irkutsk Oblast, Russia. The legend talks about a young lady, Bulzhuhai Duhai, who did not want to marry. She kept running away from her husband, who treated her disrespectfully and locked her in a black yurt. She then hung herself in a barn after singing and dancing at someone else's wedding for 8 days and 8 nights, feeling unwanted and unloved. After her death, she became a spirit. She joined other spirit maidens who haunt fiancés on their wedding day, bewitching them with their beauty and dragging them to the netherworld. Serbia, in the village of Koprivica near Zaječar, there is a legend about the ghost of a woman in a wedding dress that walks around at night scaring people. This ghost is most commonly referred to as the dead woman in white. There are 2 stories about the death of this woman. The first states that she died in the 70s in a car accident while going on her honeymoon, while the second states that she hung herself after her fiancé left her right before their wedding. She is also apparently seen stopping cars on the road between Bor and Zaječar. Switzerland, a popular legend has been associated for centuries with the ruins of Rulbo Castle. It centers around a woman without a name, supposedly the first wife of the knight Humbert de Chulex, whose castle was constructed in the beginning of the 14th century. He reportedly rejected her when she did not give birth to a son. The ghost has been linked to the disappearance of people and deaths from unexplained causes. Thailand. In Thailand, there is a story about teenagers going into a deserted house in Thoi Wat Thana, a suburb in Bangkok, to look for ghosts and afterwards died from accidents. In each case, witnesses claimed to have seen a mysterious long-haired woman in a white dress. A medium claimed that this was a vengeful spirit named Dao or Duan. England, a total of 13 tales within England also suggest that the White Lady may be a victim of murder or suicide who died before she could tell anyone the location of some hidden treasure. Around 2019, the castle of Blenkinsop in Northumberland was said to have had an experience with a lady in white. The White Lady, also known as the Running Lady of Beeford, East Yorkshire, resides on a stretch of road between Beeford and Brandis Burton. Motorists have reported her apparition running across the Beeford Strait toward the junction of North Frodingham. Tales also report a motorcyclist picking up a female hitchhiker on the same stretch of road. A few miles later, the motorcyclist, after turning around, noticed that she had vanished. In one instance, a car crashed into a tree, killing 6 people, rumored to be the White Lady's curse. In another story, a white lady is seen retracing her steps. She was said to have jumped off the Portchester castle while trying to retrieve her fallen child. Her spirit is said to haunt the castle. An old ballad is sung about a white lady ghost that is haunting Oakhampton Castle. This lady is said to be a Howard lady of the 17th century, who has murdered several of her husbands and children. Her curse is to collect grass blades in her castle ruins until the end of time. The ghost of a lady called Matilda is said to haunt Barry Pomeroy Castle as a harbinger of death to everyone who sees her in the dungeon of the St. Margaret Tower. Matilda is said to have been starved to death by her sister in the dungeon. Within Radford, the White Lady of Radford is a young woman from the Harris family. Her legend talks of her wishing to see a local young man living in nearby Uriston, but being forbidden to by her family. Despite this, she took a boat one night onto the lake whilst wearing her white clothing. The boat supposedly capsized, with the White Lady disappearing underwater. Others have claimed the lady's lover was in the boat with her when it sank. Since then, many have told of supposedly seeing the White Lady sitting beside the lake. Wales. In Welsh tradition, the White Lady is a common apparition in the Celtic mythology of Wales. Dressed in white, and most common at the Welsh Halloween, she was often evoked to warn children about bad behavior. She is characterized in various ways. She is also associated with restless spirits guarding hidden treasures. An ailment known as Why Lady Wen's Revenge is said to befall on any person who died before disclosing hidden treasure. Tales of white ladies can be found throughout Wales. The village of Ewenny has both a White Lady's Meadow and White Lady's Lane, and Street Athen also has a tradition of a White Lady. United States, a White Lady is said to haunt Durand Eastman Park in Rochester, New York. Also known as the Lady in the Lake, the 19th century White Lady wanders the park area, obsessively looking for her daughter's body. It is said that her daughter was slain either by a boyfriend or a group of thugs, depending on the version of the stories. Legend has it that the White Lady either killed herself in grief, or died alone and heartbroken. Another lady in white is the most commonly reported apparition at Avenel. The apparition is thought to be Mary Frances Fran Burwell, of the Burwell family of Virginia. Legend has it that she stayed on the front porch waiting for her husband to come home from the Civil War, but he never did. Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut, has reported sightings of a white lady since the late 1940s, also said to haunt the nearby Stepney Cemetery in Monroe, Connecticut. In Altoona, Pennsylvania, she is known as the White Lady of Wapsie. Her ghost is said to haunt Wapsinanak Mountain and Buckhorn Mountain in the western part of Altoona. It's said that she and her husband had an ill-fated crash over Devil's Elbow, and they both tumbled over the side of the mountain. According to legend, she is seen looking for her husband on foggy nights, has been picked up as a hitchhiker, and she always disappears around Devil's Elbow. In Yermo, California, at the Calico Ghost Town, the ghost of a white lady has been seen. In Fremont, California, there are 2 instances of a white lady. One is known as the White Witch, and the other is known as the Prom Dress Girl. Both legends have ghost sightings in the Niles Canyon area. The White Witch story is about a woman named Lorraine. She was one of the first people in the area killed in a horse carriage incident in the early 20th century. People claim to have seen her in a cemetery in the area with strange lights. Local legends say you can see her walking. The Prom Dress Girl story is about a high school girl who got into a car accident on February 26 somewhere around in the late 20th century. People who have seen her claim that she wears a white prom dress and tries to hitch a ride from passing by vehicles. In Dallas, Texas, at White Rock Lake Park, it is reported that the ghost of a girl known as the Lady of White Rock Lake, described as wearing a water-soaked 1930s evening dress, who usually appears at night along a roadside. Witnesses claim that she asks to be taken home before disappearing in the car and leaving behind a waterlogged car seat. Legends claims the woman to be a drowning victim from a boating accident in the 1930s.